Welcome to the Little Hut Podcast. Well, good afternoon, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Little Hut Podcast. My name is Kimberly F. Brown, and of course, it's Sunday afternoon. And of course, you know, the Little Hut Podcast on Sundays, we are dedicated to people who are running for office. And again, in order to come inside the Little Hut Podcast, we have to respect your leadership. We have to respect you as a community navigator who knows how to get things done. So today, inside the Little Hut, the one who is in the hot seat under the hot light, please help me welcome judicial candidate for the city of Cleveland in song, 𝗧𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 shake your pom poms, shake your pom poms. Darn it, I won't say the other word only because she's running for judge. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me on the Little Hut podcast. I appreciate coming here today.
Well, I appreciate you for being bold enough to come into the little hut because a lot of candidates, for whatever reason, they fear the Little Hut podcast. And I really don't know why. Some people tell me because they don't like real questions.
Mm.
Some people tell me because a lot of people are full of fluff and buff, even without an afro puff. Some people tell me it's simply because you get right down to business. But at any rate, I believe that when candidates are running, that people have a right to hear from them as to why they are running and what their perspective may be. So we're going to get right down to this.
Hmm.
You are running for a Cleveland judicial judge seat, correct?
That is correct.
Some people say that they don't know candidate Loving, and it's okay
It is.
because everybody's not going to know everybody.
That's correct.
So, for those who don't, for those who are not familiar with you, please tell us who you are. Brown on Cleveland, the Little Hut podcast.
All right. My name is Ensign J. Loving. I am running for judge in the Cleveland Municipal Court. I'm running for the seat that's currently held by Judge Cassidy, and it'll be an open seat. Just a little bit of background about me. I grew up in East Cleveland. I moved to Cleveland as an adult. After finishing law school, I went to the University of Akron for law school. I went to John Carroll for my undergraduate degree, and I'm actually currently enrolled at Cleveland State, and I'm pursuing my master's in labor relations and human resources. So that's a fun fact that a lot of people don't know about me. I'm a lifelong learner. I just believe that in order to do good work, no matter what you do, you have to stay on top of things. You have to stay on top of the law, the facts, the information, and just make sure you're constantly taking in that knowledge. And so I thought that this degree would also help me in my career. I have a 16-year-old daughter. I'm a single mom, and she is my right hand. I think that what's really important to know about how I grew up is that a lot of people can judge a book by its cover, which is why I appreciate you bringing your candidates on the show, because what I've learned after the past year and a half of campaigning is that you are running for an elected position. People have a right to know about you. They have a right to know all the things that you might have in your background. They have a right to know about your professional experience. And so when you choose to run for an office, you put yourself out there. And so you have to make yourself available and open to the public so that our viewers and voters can get an informed opinion of you. Because I truly believe that you have to research your candidates. I think that one of the largest um, points of feedback that I heard when I spoke with people is that they don't know who their elected officials are, especially judges. A lot of people have admittedly said, I get to the ballot and I see these names and I pick one because it looks like it might be a good judge name, but I couldn't tell you who that person is. Maybe I've never met them because I haven't been in their courtroom, but also maybe they've never come out to meet me. And so it's been really important for me to get out and meet as many people as I can and just really talk about myself, and sort of give them an opportunity to connect with me and to see if there are qualities or qualifications that I have that they believe their judges should possess or not in order for them to make the best informed decision.
Very good. I got to give you some for that. Mhm. And Kimberly Taylor, who is watching the podcast right now, she just wanted to say good evening. So, Kimberly, good evening. It's
Good
always a
evening.
pleasure to have you hanging out inside the hut as an avid supporter and avid listener. So, let's get down to this. How long have you been practicing law?
So I've been licensed in 2009. So this November, I'll be coming up on my 16th anniversary. Um, of practicing law. I started off in private practice.
Okay.
So when I was in law school, my second year of law school, I landed a position as a law clerk at a civil litigation firm. And I actually stayed there after I had my daughter. So I was pregnant when I walked the law school stage. So
Okay.
it was the perfect opportunity for me to work in an environment where I could raise my daughter. And also, if you remember, 2008 and 2009 was a really hard time, like the black wave, they called it, when it came to a lot of jobs in various professions, but especially in the legal industry. So I was really fortunate to stay and grow with this firm. And I started off as a plaintiff's attorney. So a lot of people may know when you start off as a plaintiff's attorney, you do everything from start to finish. Like you get your clients in the door, you meet with them, you get that retention agreement, that fee agreement, and you do every piece of the case all the way up to and through its culmination. And so then after my start of my career, I transitioned to defense work, also in the private sector. And I got to see what litigation looked like from the other side. And then I transitioned to the Common Pleas Court and I worked as a judicial staff attorney. And I got to see what the court looked like from the neutral role, from the court perspective, and what litigation looked like and what dockets looked like. And also from an administrative side, how things worked from an accessibility position and also just timeliness standpoint. You know, when you're on the other side as an attorney, you have one perspective of how things move. And when you work for the court, you see all the different things that go into dockets and cases and decisions, and you understand how to make things efficient, but also right and effective. And so after I left the Common Pleas Court, I joined the Ohio Attorney General's office, where I am currently as a senior assistant attorney general.
So, in essence, if I'm hearing you correct, you have pretty much served in every aspect of the court.
I served at the Common Pleas level and for the state. So what I like to think about it when I talk to people sometimes is I say, you know, I served you as a tax-paying resident in
Mm-hmm.
the Common Pleas Court. So when you think about it, Cuyahoga County. So in the capacity for folks being a county resident, I served you as a judicial staff attorney. As citizens of the state of Ohio and taxpayers, I serve you currently working for the state of Ohio. And if elected, I'll have the honor of serving people from the municipal level for folks who live in the city of Cleveland. So it'll be like a trifecta.
Oh, okay. So, very good. So, a lot of people, they don't know the difference from the common plea court and the municipal court. Can you explain exactly the duties of a Cleveland Municipal Court judge? Brown on Cleveland.
Absolutely. So the Cleveland Municipal Court adjudicates the misdemeanor cases that come through the court, and that's throughout the city of Cleveland. And it also handles the civil matters that are up to $15,000 for purposes of monetary jurisdiction. The cases that are
So let me stop you right there, because see, one thing about the legal field, you guys use words that sometimes the lay person don't understand.
Yep.
So when you're responding here inside the hut, can you please break it down so therefore we all can understand exactly what you're talking about? So you just mentioned $15,000 in a civil case. Explain exactly what does that mean, Brown on Cleveland?
Absolutely. So, for example, if you have a debt collector who sued someone for maybe a credit card agreement that the individual has defaulted on, well, if that amount that the person owes is maybe $10,000, then they would file that court or that case in the municipal court, or I should say the municipal court would have jurisdiction over it. But if that credit card agreement or that debt owed is $25,000, then they would have to go to the common pleas court, because that's the jurisdiction that exceeds what the municipal court can handle. So these are set up by statute. And so once you hit that $15K threshold, it goes over to the jurisdiction of the common pleas court.
Okay, for clarification, but this would only pertain to individuals who live within the city of Cleveland, Brown
That
or
is
Cleveland.
absolutely correct.
Very good. Also, too, what other things do you guys do as far as Cleveland Municipal Court judges? Any event that God bless you with this seat, Brown or Cleveland?
So with respect to adjudicating the misdemeanor cases that come before the court, so the Cleveland Municipal Court has a very large docket, and there are a lot of like traffic cases that would come through the court, your OVI, your DUI cases, and your minor misdemeanor type cases. So those are the cases that fall under the criminal umbrella of matters that the judges would have. And so a lot of times, the second probably most asked question is, well, what does that court do? And so that's why this is a really good question when you explain jurisdiction and how these cases are here before the court. And so when the cases come in, people often ask, well, how do you get a certain case? Well, how do judges get certain cases? And so what happens is the cases are randomly assigned to the general jurisdiction judges in the city of Cleveland. So
let me ask. Now, you stated that the cases are randomly assigned. Is this like a lottery pool that the administrative judge does in order to decide what case is on whose docket, Brown or Cleveland?
No, not when I say that. I just mean that, like, when you think about a random computer assignment.
Oh, okay.
Yes, in that capacity. So it's sort of takes out the human piece of assignment.
Got it.
So there are other things that can happen with judges sort of having to shift things off of their docket, but it just means that when a case comes in, you can't say, I'd like to go to Judge X, or I know that if I get a red light, if I run a red light and I'm pulled over by the police, I know I'm automatically going to Judge Y. You don't know what judge you'll be assigned.
So if you were to have a case, again, you simply don't know.
The individual?
Right.
You wouldn't know until you get the case number assigned to you, and you will get your judge assigned down the pike. So you don't know at the time something happens what judge you might be before in the city of Cleveland.
Okay, judicial candidate loving. Sometimes I hear judges talk about a specialized case or a specialized docket. Like, for example, regarding like the treatment of veterans. If there's a specialized case, does this still fall under the same parameters that you just spoke of, Brown or Cleveland?
So certain judges oversee the specialized dockets or some of the dockets that provide wraparound services.
Okay.
So the judge who a case might initially come before can recognize that the individual in front of them might benefit from and qualify for certain wraparound services. And in that regard, they might transfer the individual to one of the specialized dockets. So, for example, if there is a judge who oversees like the veterans docket that Judge
Okay.
Patton currently oversees. He oversees the docket, but if a veteran comes before another judge and they recognize that there might be services that could benefit them, then they could connect with that docket and with that judge. So the cases that come in aren't automatically assigned because you don't know what a person might need when you first see that, charge. Maybe they've got pulled over for a DUI and you maybe don't recognize already that they need some of the drug services or the mental health services. So the judge who there before would do that assessment and determine if they would benefit, and then through the court system connect them with that docket.
Very good. Let's change the subject matter.
Mhm.
We know that judges must have certain decorum inside the courtroom. A lot of issues that have come up regarding judges have been the way they operate the courtroom. Please tell us about your managerial skills. If you are to be elected to the seat, what can, and I'm going to call them visitors,
Mhm.
expect from, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to be careful with my words because I know she's not a judge, so I don't need anybody trying to run and tell that somebody called her a judge. Any event that you are the judge, how would Judge Loving run her courtroom? Hard skills, independent skills, soft skills. Brown on Cleveland.
So I'll start with soft skills. I think
Okay.
it's really important that when you start off your day and when you interact with the public, you have to understand that your job involves interacting with the public. And in that regard, there's this customer service aspect of it that maybe some people don't fully recognize. And for me, it's just really important as a person, right, to be greeted and to be respected and to be acknowledged. And so I've made this very clear that it's just so important to me that all people in the courtroom are treated with dignity and respect. And when I say that, it really is important to me because growing up, I grew up a little different. I've been through a lot of things, and I was always sort of on the receiving end of maltreatment. And so for me, I've lived my life making sure that I never make anyone feel bad. If there's anything that I can do to brighten someone's day, then I'm gonna do it. And it's just when I worked in the courtroom, I was so surprised at how many people spoke to me and engaged with me and complimented me for things that I just think are basic, like things that my grandmother raised me to do.
Okay.
And so, I get in an elevator and I speak to people. I call people by their name. I don't, shorten your name. You come to me, you're Miss So and so, Mr. Blank in front of me. It doesn't matter
Okay.
what you look like or who you are. That's like the basics of human respect. And I think that it's really important to operate a courtroom with dignity and respect because you are in an individual or you're in a position of power as a judge, but oftentimes the person in front of you is probably, it's not their best day. And so there's like a duty we have to do no harm. We don't have to make things worse. And I don't have any right to treat you differently or make you feel poorly about yourself, no matter what you're going through. And I think that's just important to me in every facet of my life. I could be at the gas station, the grocery store, or in the courtroom.
Very good. Gotta give you some for that. Also, to judges, I may be incorrect about this. Do you guys handle a budget?
So you mean as far as court expenditures?
Absolutely.
To my knowledge, no.
No?
And I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, I don't
Okay.
think that I would have any role in overseeing any of the expenses of the court.
So you don't oversee like the expense of your bailiff, the people who work under your directives, Brown or Cleveland? Just asking
Yeah,
because again, I don't know. So these are just questions.
So I can make the decision who to bring on
Oh,
for
I
the
see.
bailiff position. But as far as their salary and their payment and negotiating that would be with the human resources and administrative
Got it.
department. I wouldn't be able to go in and say, hey, can we cut so and so X, Y, and Z? Or,
Okay.
I can't find somebody in this
Okay.
range. To my knowledge, I don't think I have the authority to do any of that.
Okay. Brown or Cleveland, fair question. Now let's talk about justice and fairness. We know that anytime you pick up certain news media, and it's always like on news break, but you never get it from like Brown on Cleveland.
No.
A lot of people are upset with judges and the way they run their courtroom, especially if there are consequences because of one's behavior, if I can say that to be fair. Tell me about your attitude regarding justice and fairness. Two separate entities. People are concerned about both. I think that's the area that people are going to look at when they go to the ballot box and vote for a judge or ignore the fact that people are running for judge. What do you think about justice and what do you think about fairness? Brown on Cleveland, inside the Little Hut podcast with judicial candidate 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗡 𝗧𝗜𝗓𝗓 for Cleveland Municipal Court judge.
I think that people have to recognize sometimes judges have to make hard decisions. There isn't always an easy solution. And in the background of what we're thinking about when we have an individual in front of us, we also have to look at everything in that person's life and record, but also you have to think about public safety and the other individuals who might be involved in this case. So there is a lot that goes into consideration in every single decision a judge makes. And sometimes the public doesn't always get to see that, but it's what's always in the background of every judicial decision. And so you have to have judges who take the time to weigh all of the facts in front of them, to think about the law, to consider the options and think about the background factors like public safety, whether or not an individual is somebody who's actively engaged in efforts to rehabilitate and improve. And it's a lot as far as the decision-making process. And sometimes people aren't going to like it. And so what I like to say to people and what I've been saying is, listen, I just want people to know that when, potential Judge Loving makes a decision, I want somebody to think, okay, you know what? I might not like the decision she made, but I know her. I've seen how she's done this past X amount of time. And I know whatever the case may be, I might disagree with the outcome, but I know that she made it because she had a legal basis. And I know that she considered the facts in front of her. And I know that that was a sound legal decision. And that's all I want when people leave the courtroom.
Brown on Cleveland. Also, too, I want to say hello to Miss Marvetta Rutherford, who's a very prominent Cleveland activist. I thought she had a question, and normally she does, but she was just saying greetings. So, of course, it's always great to have her inside the Little Hut podcast because she's one hell of an interviewer herself. So, listen, it's about 7:24. We got about 5.5 minutes to wrap this up. I know that you do not have a primary. You're going straight to the general. Please make a plea to the citizens of the city of Cleveland as to why you are the best and competent candidate for Cleveland Municipal Court judge. I'm going to give you 2.5 minutes, and then we're going to wrap this up.
See,
Brown.
I was going to say, do I get the whole 5.5?
That damn Brown on Cleveland. You get 2.5 because, I got to shake my pom-poms, and we got to get out of here. Also, too, want to let people know that the campaign manager is hanging out, Angel Washington. She's in the studio. And if you don't know, Angel Washington is actually a co-host of the Little Hut podcast. But because she wanted to be absolutely fair, she removed herself, but she will be back after November, going into December. Brown on Cleveland. The floor is yours. Thank you.
And so what I'd like to say to the voters in the city of Cleveland and the residents is that if you haven't had an opportunity to speak to me, if you haven't had an opportunity to meet me, and if you have questions, reach out. I am very accessible. I try to be everywhere I can to meet as many people as possible because I believe that in order to earn your vote, I have to make you confident in me. And if you haven't had the chance to see if my qualifications are what you expect, or if my personal integrity isn't what you expect, I want to have that time to sit down with you. And in addition to that, if you haven't met me, ask people about me, research me and Google me, and just make sure that you're comfortable in that decision, because at the end of the day, I am qualified and I am experienced. I've practiced for almost 16 years and I've touched everything in our municipal, county, appellate, and Sixth Circuit courts. I've briefed cases that have lasted years, product liability cases, class action cases. Yes, I'm qualified, but more importantly, I believe in people. I care about people. And at
Okay.
the end of the day, the city of Cleveland is so important and our needs are so different that we need our judges to be connected to the heart of the community. We need people who are out and around and who have their pulse on the city so that they can make decisions for the people that they're going to serve every day. And that's what's important to me. I live on the east side of Cleveland, currently Ward 10, soon to be new Ward 8. I'm your neighbor and your friend. But at the end of the day, I make decisions, or I hope to make decisions that are not just based on the law and the facts in front of me, but that also, when appropriate, can help people. Because that's really the ultimate goal of the court, to help people and to take care of the community. And so that's what I would say. And I would hope I would earn your vote. And we still got about 87, 88 days or so, and I will be out and around and hoping to meet as many people as I can, so that when you go in that box and you see that 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, you know, you're like, what is? I know her. I met her. I saw her on the Little Hut podcast. I saw her at the picnic. I talked to her, or so and so speaks highly of her, or I Googled her and I learned that she teaches the kids civics or government, or I learned that she volunteers with mock trial. Like, there's so much to know about me, and everyone's expectations are different, that I'd love people to get to know me to make the decision if they're on the fence or not on the, judicial candidate train of 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓.
Very good. Brown, 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 that darn brown on Cleveland. We've been talking with judicial candidate for the city of Cleveland, 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓. Also, too, if you guys are fortunate enough to know me, and if I know you, there will be a candidates picnic over at the Little Hut. Showing up, showing up, showing up. The date is pending because I want people to come out and actually meet and greet a lot of candidates. I don't support them, but they can come because I truly believe that everybody has a right to be heard. Brown, 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 that darn brown on Cleveland. Don't forget that Sundays are dedicated to those folks who are running for office, not write-in candidates. No, 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 because you didn't pay the cost to be the boss, to sit next to me inside the Little Hut podcast in the hot seat under the hot light. My name is Kimberly F. Brown. Brown, 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 that darn brown on Cleveland. I thank you guys for joining us on this Sunday. You guys stay safe and have a great evening. Say goodbye in song.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
Listen, they all. Sunday evenings with candidates. Election 2025. Make sure you are civically engaged and get out the vote.